Hi, everybody. Chad Westport here, and I'm back with another edition of Just One Thing, where I go out into the community and find experienced growers to come here and talk to us about something that they find very important about the growing process. And today, got an excellent person for you, a person with tons of resources at their back. We've got Macky from Percys Grow Room. We've talked many times ourselves about growing, but what is the one thing that you want to share with new growers today?
The importance of keeping it simple, especially for new growers. I mean, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of information you have to learn when you first start growing your own cannabis, like what equipment to get. Obviously, if you're growing indoors, you're going to need different equipment, which medium you're going to grow in, cocoa, hydroponics, soil. If you're growing in soil, live in soil. And there's so much that goes into it that it's very important to understand. This shit has been growing by itself outside in the wild for millions of years. So you don't have to be too heavily involved and have things spot on perfect. Just plant the seed, keep it simple, and don't get too overwhelmed, and don't try learning too much. Just take it step by step. There's an old saying that you only have to be one lesson ahead of the student. And this is pretty much the same with cannabis. It takes 12 weeks at least to grow. So you only need to learn week by week what's going on. Don't go crazy. Don't read too much because you'll panic and you'll find problems with your plant that ain't there just because you. So when I started out, and I still do it sometimes now, if I write an article on Percys, I'll write an article about thrips. And then for the next few days, I swear my plants have got thrips. Look at that little spit patch. That's a spit patch, right? There's got to be a thrip. But, you'll find problems if you're looking for them. So just keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's very important. But there's one thing that I know I do that most growers would be like, what the fuck? But I don't check temperature and humidity anymore because it's at a point where I don't really have the equipment anymore. I used to, like a decent heater and air conditioning in the UK just doesn't exist. We don't have it. So if the tent, for example, throughout summer times, everybody knows when summer's around, it gets hot outside and it's hard to keep the actual grow room warm. And I've had plants up in like 36 degrees Celsius sometimes. And you're stressing, like, now what can I do? I'll get this cool towel, or I'll open a window, or I'll try do this and that. And you start panicking about your plants. They're doing fine. They're actually enjoying this extra heat, but you're stressing more than the plants are. So I just stopped checking my temperatures at that point because they're always about right. There's nothing I can really do if they get out of control and they get too high or too low. So I just fucking stop checking temperature and humidity, man, and just let the plants do their thing. And they always seem pretty happy. So, and the plants will adjust. They get used to the conditions they're in, and they'll be happy at 24, for example, or they'll be happy at 32. If you're watering them properly and they have good airflow and some nice fresh air getting to them, they'll be happy, man. They'll be happy. Just don't worry about it getting too humid and things like that. You'll know when there's problems, not by using a thermometer, but your plant will tell you, I'm not feeling too well right now. Not verbally, unless you've smoked something, but you shouldn't have smoked while you're caring for your plants. I'm so warm right now.
I can taste blue in the room.
yeah, I've had that shit. But it's just one of them things, man. You look at your plants more than you look at the thermometer. You try and keep it within the correct range, of course. Try and keep the plants as happy as possible, but don't stress too much if they do go a little bit out of range. And genetics is important. Finding the right strain at the right time of year, or just making sure that you buy from a good seed bank that has a good reputation, so that the genetics you're growing are good. That's half the battle, nature and nurture and all that. If you can get good genetics to start with, then you're 50% of the way to quality weed. The genetics matter so much. And one of the most important things there is when you get these good genetics, you know that in a few months you're gonna have good weed. If you just get a bag seed or something, which might turn out to be good, but there's a good chance that it won't be, or it might hermaphrodite, and you're gonna spend all this time and energy growing these plants for it to turn out to weed that you don't want to smoke at the end because it's either shit or it's full of seed or and that's not what you want, especially if it's your first grow and you get to the end and that's the result you get. It's going to be a bit, you're not going to want to go again so much. But if you get good genetics, have a mediocre grow, don't take it too serious, don't go too crazy with information. It's all really simple. It is a really, really simple thing to do to grow cannabis. But to get the real good shit, that takes more research and more knowledge about the plant and how it grows, and it takes better equipment, it takes quality food at the right times, but that all comes in time. It's like don't try and play Pete Townsend solos on your guitar on your first week of learning. It doesn't work like that. Keep it simple, otherwise you won't enjoy it so much. If you keep it simple, you'll enjoy the whole process, you'll enjoy learning about it, and you'll enjoy the weed at the end much more as well. So keeping it simple is like it's so important, man, but it's overlooked. I think people try to get too heavily involved with the information to start with, and if that's your thing, if you want to go out and learn all the science, because it is interesting, I like reading about science myself, but for new growers, keeping it simple is so important, man. You don't want to overwhelm the new people. And say you got a friend who wants to learn how to grow and they're like, oh no, it's too difficult, man. I wouldn't have this. I'd kill it. I've never even grown a tomato plant before. I'd kill it. And you got to try and encourage these people and explain to them how simple it is. Oh yeah, you have to have the right BPD and the DLI, and you got to have the right PPFD. And they're like, what the fuck is all this he's saying to me, man? It's like you do that, and somebody's just going to be too scared, and that's not what we want. As a community, we want the community to grow, in numbers, and we want everybody to be growing their own. So about as many people, if you're capable to, you should be growing your own. And, difficult language like that, and it can be overwhelming and it can be discouraging. And we don't want to discourage people from doing this shit. So just keep it simple as possible. And people are more likely to jump on and be like, well, if he can do it, surely I can do it, right? This don't sound too complex. You just put a seed in the soil and water it for 12 weeks and it's done. And it's like, essentially you can do that. You get decent soil, decent seed, and it'll have enough food in it to last the whole 12 weeks, get a good living soil. And you just put water in it for 12 weeks, man. If you've got it in your back garden, simple, easy, but it just takes more practice and more revision, more research if you want to grow that like top shelf cannabis cup winning weed. But that will come in time, man. Just take your time. Don't get overwhelmed. Keep it simple.
That's awesome, Macky. Yeah. That's perfect, man. I want to let everybody know before we go where they can find you. You've got a lot of things going on. First of all, the websites, find him highonhomegrown.com. These will also be down in the show notes, guys. And percysgrowroom.com. You want to maybe tell people what they might find there?
They're probably one of the most friendliest cannabis forums on the planet. Yeah, for new growers, I've never seen a community that's so welcoming. They come along, new growers will come in and just ask the same questions which we might have answered 20, 30 times before, but we don't mind because our principle is we want to get people growing, we want to be a nice, welcoming place where people are not afraid to ask those important questions, just enjoy each other's time and company and help each other grow better weed, man.
Awesome. And I definitely enjoy hanging out with you guys on your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome, man. We love having you on. It's real sweet, man. And thanks for all the times you've joined us, too.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And thanks for coming here today and sharing your just one thing with the viewers over here. Hopefully some of them are going to go and check you out over there as well.
Yeah, hopefully, man. That'd be cool.
Yep. All right. So with that, everybody stay tuned. There'll be more episodes coming up. But today we had Macky sharing his just one thing, and that was...
What, if I gotta say something here?
I made it too complicated, right? It's all about keeping it simple. No.
Oh yeah, that's it, mate. You lost me, man.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah, man. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.